All right, so buckle up, everybody, because today we are going on a deep dive through time. Billions of years of Earth's history,
Yeah,
from its very beginning all the way to well us.
that's right.
And what's really exciting is we're not just going to list events, but uncover those hidden connections,
Yeah.
those aha moments that reveal how the past has shaped our present. Are you ready to have your mind blown?
Absolutely. It's like piecing together this massive puzzle where each era, each event
Right.
fits together to create this incredible tapestry of life and existence.
I love that analogy. So let's rewind all the way back to the beginning, about 4.6 billion years ago.
Okay.
Can you paint us a picture of what Earth was like back then?
Well, imagine a scene straight out of a sci-fi movie. You've got the solar system.
Yeah.
It's just this swirling cloud of gas and dust, and gravity's working its magic, pulling everything together.
Right.
And from this chaos emerges a fiery, molten Earth.
Oh, wow.
A world of constant volcanic eruptions and a landscape that's constantly shifting and reshaping itself. Not exactly a place you'd want to set up camp.
Definitely not a top vacation destination, but somewhere in all this fiery chaos, the seeds of life were being sown. How did Earth go from this molten inferno to a planet capable of supporting life?
It's a remarkable transformation, really. As Earth cooled, a solid crust began to form,
Huh.
paving the way for that next crucial ingredient, water. We believe that most of Earth's water arrived via comets and asteroid impacts.
Really?
It's amazing to think that these seemingly random events were essential for kicking off life as we know it.
So no water, no us. That's pretty humbling.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we've got a cooling Earth, we've got water. What happens next?
Well, fast forward about 1 billion years to around 3.8 billion years ago.
Okay.
And you start to see those first signs of life emerging in the primordial oceans. We're talking single-celled organisms, prokaryotic bacteria, the true pioneers of life on
Right.
Earth.
Wow, those are some tiny but mighty creatures.
They might be tiny, but they played an absolutely massive role in shaping the planet.
So tell me more about these microscopic trailblazers.
Well, among these early bacteria were the cyanobacteria,
Okay.
which developed this truly revolutionary ability. Photosynthesis.
Wow.
They started using sunlight to convert carbon dioxide and water into energy, releasing oxygen as a byproduct.
That's incredible. And this seemingly simple process
Right.
led to the Great Oxygenation Event, one of the most significant turning points in Earth's history. I remember learning about this in school, but it always seemed kind of abstract to me.
Yeah.
What were the real consequences of this oxygen explosion?
It was a dramatic shift. You see, the oxygen produced by these cyanobacteria gradually transformed Earth's atmosphere.
Okay.
Now, for the many anaerobic life forms that thrived in an oxygen-free environment, this was a catastrophe.
Oh, no.
They just couldn't survive in this new oxygen-rich world. It's a good reminder
Yeah.
that even seemingly positive changes can have both winners and losers in the evolutionary game.
That's a great point. I hadn't thought about it that way before. So these tiny bacteria were essentially terraforming the planet, paving the way for oxygen-breathing life forms like us. But life remained pretty simple for quite a while, right?
That's right. It took another few billion years for life to get really complex.
Wow.
But then around 541 million years ago, something extraordinary happened. The Cambrian explosion. Imagine standing on the shores of an ancient ocean,
Okay.
witnessing this explosion of diversity unlike anything you've ever seen before.
You've definitely got my attention. What made this period so explosive?
It was like evolution suddenly went into overdrive.
Yeah.
In a relatively short time, geologically speaking, a vast array of new and complex life forms emerged. You would have seen early arthropods, creatures with jointed legs and hard exoskeletons,
Cool.
the ancestors of today's insects and crustaceans.
Yeah.
And then you would have seen the first mollusks with their soft bodies and often hard shells, ancestors of snails, clams, and squid.
Uh-huh.
And of course, you would have seen the first fish-like creatures swimming through the oceans, their streamlined bodies hinting at the future evolution of vertebrates.
It's mind-boggling to imagine this burst of life in the ancient oceans, like a cosmic light show of evolution unfolding before your eyes.
Absolutely.
Was there something in particular that triggered this explosion of diversity?
It was likely a combination of factors. The continents were on the move,
Okay.
creating new and diverse habitats, which spurred on evolutionary adaptation.
Right.
The oxygen levels in the atmosphere continued to rise, providing more energy for these complex life forms to thrive. And perhaps there was an element of chance, too,
Huh.
a series of lucky mutations that allowed life to explore new possibilities.
So it wasn't just one big bang, but this perfect storm of conditions
Yeah.
that led to this incredible diversification of life. And speaking of dramatic events, we can't forget about the dinosaurs.
Absolutely not. The dinosaurs ruled the Earth for over 180 million years during the Mesozoic era,
Wow.
and their reign was punctuated by several mass extinction events.
That's right.
These events weren't just random catastrophes. They played a really crucial role in shaping the course of evolution.
It's almost like nature was hitting the reset button, clearing the stage for new actors to enter.
Precisely. The most famous extinction event, of course, occurred around 66 million years ago,
Right.
when a massive asteroid slammed into the Earth, wiping out the dinosaurs and paving the way for the rise of mammals.
And that brings us a little closer to home, right?
Absolutely.
Without that asteroid, who knows what kind of world we'd be living in today.
It's really fascinating to consider those alternative timelines.
Right.
But what we do know is that the extinction of the dinosaurs created an ecological void that allowed mammals to flourish and diversify.
And eventually, that led to the emergence of our own species, Homo sapiens, around 200,000 years ago. Not bad for a relative newcomer.
Indeed. And what's really remarkable is how quickly humans have come to dominate the planet.
So let's dive into that next chapter, the story of how we went from small bands of hunter-gatherers to builders of civilizations.
Okay, sounds good. It's just fascinating to think about how we as a species went from those early hunter-gatherers to creating these complex civilizations. It's really a testament to our adaptability and ingenuity.
Right. We went from foraging for food to building pyramids and writing epic poems. What drove that incredible transformation?
Well, a major turning point came around 10,000 BCE with the development of agriculture. Imagine, instead of constantly moving in search of food, humans could now settle down and cultivate the land.
Okay, yeah, I can see how that would be a total game changer. But wasn't farming also a lot more work than just gathering what nature provided? What made our ancestors take that leap?
It was likely a combination of things, including climate change and population growth. As the last ice age ended, the climate became more stable, and certain regions became much more suitable for growing crops. At the same time, human populations were increasing, which put pressure on resources. So settling down and cultivating the land became a more reliable way to feed that growing community.
So it was a necessity as much as an innovation.
Exactly.
But didn't this shift to a settled lifestyle also bring about some pretty big societal changes?
Absolutely. Agriculture led to the development of villages, then towns, and eventually cities.
Wow.
People were living in closer proximity than ever before, which really fostered collaboration and specialization of labor. You begin to see artisans, merchants, priests, and rulers emerging as those social roles become more defined.
It's like agriculture planted the seeds not just for crops, but for a whole new way of life.
I like that.
And with these larger, more complex settlements came the need for more sophisticated forms of communication.
Precisely. Imagine trying to coordinate the activities of a bustling city without a system of writing. It would be chaos.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So how did writing actually develop, and what impact did it have on these early civilizations?
Well, writing systems emerged independently in different parts of the world,
Okay.
from Mesopotamia to Egypt to China. Early forms of writing often started as pictographs.
Right.
Simple drawings representing objects or ideas. I see.
But over time, these symbols evolved into more abstract forms,
Okay.
representing sounds and syllables.
It's incredible to think that these early scribes were essentially inventing the tools that would allow humans to record their history and share their knowledge and create these lasting works of literature.
Absolutely. Writing wasn't just about practical matters like record keeping or trade. It also allowed for the development of laws, the spread of religious beliefs, and the expression of philosophical ideas. It was a monumental leap forward in human communication and cultural development.
And with these new forms of communication and social organization, civilizations really began to flourish. We see the rise of empires, the construction of this monumental architecture, and the development of some really incredible technologies.
It's a period of such remarkable achievement, but it's important to remember that progress wasn't always evenly distributed. The rise of civilizations also brought about social hierarchies, inequality, and unfortunately, conflict.
Yeah, it seems like conflict is a recurring theme throughout human history. Why do you think that is? Is it just part of our nature? Well, that's a complex question, and there are lots of factors involved. Competition for resources, land, and power definitely plays a role. But we also see conflict coming from differences in ideology, religion, and cultural values.
It's almost like we're constantly battling these two opposing forces. The drive to create and build and this impulse to destroy and conquer.
That's a very insightful observation. And that tension is evident throughout history, from the wars of ancient empires to the conflicts of the modern era.
Yeah.
Even during periods of relative peace and stability, there are often these underlying tensions and power struggles.
Okay, so let's shift our focus to a period that's often misunderstood. The Middle Ages in Europe, roughly from 500 to 1500 CE, it's often portrayed as a dark age.
Right.
It's a time of decline and stagnation after the fall of the Roman Empire. But is that really an accurate picture?
Not entirely. While Europe definitely experienced a lot of upheaval and fragmentation during the early Middle Ages, it wasn't a period of complete darkness.
Right.
There were some really important developments happening in art, architecture, religion, and philosophy.
Yeah, you had the rise of Christianity as this dominant force, the construction of these magnificent Gothic cathedrals, the preservation of classical learning in monasteries.
And let's not forget the important role played by Islamic scholars during this time.
That's a good point.
While much of Europe was struggling, the Islamic Golden Age was flourishing. Islamic scholars were making some incredible advancements in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy. Their work was translated into Latin and eventually made its way back to Europe, playing a key role in sparking the Renaissance.
So it's like these different cultures were cross-pollinating, sharing ideas, and building upon each other's knowledge, even during times of conflict and division.
Exactly. It's a good reminder that knowledge and innovation often transcend borders, and that progress is rarely linear.
Okay, so the Renaissance kicks off in the 14th century, and it's like Europe suddenly rediscovers this love for art, science, and classical learning.
Yeah.
What triggered this cultural awakening?
It was a complex mix of factors. The rediscovery of these ancient Greek and Roman texts played a role in inspiring this renewed interest in humanism and classical knowledge. The growth of cities and trade also fostered economic prosperity and intellectual exchange. And of course, you had these individual geniuses like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael, who pushed the boundaries of art and science.
Speaking of Leonardo da Vinci,
Yes.
can we just take a moment to appreciate this guy?
Oh, absolutely.
He wasn't just a brilliant artist, he was also an inventor, engineer, anatomist,
Right.
and all-around Renaissance rock star.
Oh, absolutely. Da Vinci's notebooks are filled with incredible sketches and ideas that were centuries ahead of their time. He designed flying machines, submarines, and even robots. He was also a master of anatomy, dissecting human bodies to understand their inner workings.
Wow.
He truly embodies the spirit of the Renaissance, a time of insatiable curiosity and just boundless creativity.
It's like a switch flipped, and suddenly everyone was obsessed with learning and exploring new ideas. And this newfound curiosity didn't stay confined to Europe, did it?
Not at all. The spirit of the Renaissance, coupled with advancements in shipbuilding and navigation, fuel the age of exploration.
Right.
European explorers set sail to discover new lands, establish trade routes, and expand their empires.
And this is where things get a little bit complicated, right? On one hand, you have this incredible thirst for knowledge and adventure, but on the other hand, you have colonialism, exploitation, and the tragic consequences that came with it.
Yeah, it's a complex and often troubling chapter in human history. The age of exploration brought about incredible cultural exchange and scientific advancements.
Right.
But it also led to the enslavement and exploitation of countless people and the destruction of entire cultures.
It's a reminder that progress can come at a very steep price, and that we always need to be mindful of the ethical implications of our actions.
Indeed. And this brings us to the Industrial Revolution,
Okay.
which began in the 18th century and transformed the world in ways that we're still feeling today.
It's like someone hit the fast forward button on technological advancement. Suddenly you have machines doing the work that humans used to do.
Right.
Factories springing up everywhere and cities swelling with people seeking new opportunities.
The Industrial Revolution led to unprecedented economic growth and increased standards of living for many.
Right.
But it also created new problems like pollution, poverty, and social inequality.
They're like this double-edged sword, right? Progress can bring about these incredible advancements, but it also creates new challenges that we need to address.
Exactly. And this brings us to the 20th century,
Okay.
which was a period of both remarkable progress and some unimaginable horrors.
You have two devastating world wars,
Right.
the rise of totalitarian regimes and the threat of nuclear annihilation.
It's a very stark reminder of humanity's destructive capacity.
It really is.
But amidst all that darkness, there are also these glimmers of hope. The development of antibiotics, the eradication of smallpox, and the advancements in medical technology saved countless lives.
And let's not forget the incredible strides made in civil rights, women's suffrage, and the fight for social justice.
Absolutely. Even in the face of such adversity, humans continue to strive for a better world.
It's a testament to the resilience and determination of the human spirit.
It really is. And this brings us to the present day,
Okay.
where we're facing a whole new set of challenges and opportunities.
The 21st century has already seen some incredible advancements in technology, communication, and globalization, but we're also grappling with these issues like climate change, inequality, and political polarization.
The choices we make today will have such a profound impact on the future of our planet and for the generations that follow.
It's a lot of responsibility.
It is.
But it's also really exciting.
It is.
We have the potential to shape a better future.
Yeah.
To learn from the mistakes of the past.
Yes.
And to create a world that is more just equitable and sustainable.
That's a very optimistic view, and I share your hope. We have the knowledge, the tools, and the collective power to create a brighter future. But it will require collaboration, innovation, and a willingness to really challenge the status quo.
It's a tall order, but I believe we're up to the challenge. We've come so far as a species from those early hominids walking the African savanna to this global interconnected society we live in today.
It's been such an incredible journey filled with twists and turns, triumphs and tragedies. And it's not over yet. The story of humanity is still being written.
Right.
And we all have a role to play in shaping its next chapter.
I love that. You know, I think sometimes we get so caught up in the day-to-day that we forget to just step back and appreciate the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's easy to lose sight of that long arc of history, to forget that we're part of something much larger than ourselves.
This deep dive has definitely been a good reminder of that. It's like we've zoomed out and seen the entire tapestry of human existence, from its humble beginnings to its incredible complexities.
And in doing so, we've gained a new appreciation for that interconnectedness of everything. How each event, each discovery, each decision has contributed to the world we live in today.
It's a little overwhelming, to be honest.
Yeah. But it's also incredibly inspiring. It makes you realize that even these small actions can have a ripple effect, that we all have the power to make a difference.
That's a powerful thought to carry with us as we move forward. We're not just passengers on this journey through time. We are active participants, shaping the world with every choice we make.
You know, as we've been on this whirlwind tour through time, one thing that's really struck me is the sheer acceleration of change, especially in the last century. It's almost dizzying.
It really is remarkable. Think about it. We went from the first powered flight in 1903 to landing on the moon just 66 years later. And the digital revolution, it feels like it's reshaping our world at warp speed.
It's almost hard to keep up, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think is driving this exponential pace of change? Is it just technology, or is there something deeper going on?
I think it's a combination of factors, but at its core, it's about our ever-increasing capacity to learn, adapt, and innovate. Technology certainly plays a role, but it's also a reflection of our evolving understanding of the universe and our place within it. Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about how our understanding of the universe has shaped our perspective.
Well, consider this. Just a few centuries ago, most people believed that Earth was the center of everything.
Right.
Now we know our planet is just this tiny speck in this vast, ever-expanding cosmos. That shift in perspective, you know, from an Earth-centric to a cosmic viewpoint, has really profoundly impacted how we see ourselves and our place in the grand scheme of things.
That's a pretty mind-blowing shift, yeah. It makes you realize how much our perception of reality is shaped by the knowledge we have access to. And speaking of access to knowledge, we can't forget about the information explosion fueled by the internet.
Absolutely. We have access to more information than any generation before us.
Yeah.
It's an incredible opportunity, but it also presents some new challenges.
Oh, I can definitely relate to that. It's amazing to have so much information at our fingertips, but it can also feel very overwhelming. How do we filter all this noise? How do we know what to trust? And how do we avoid getting lost in this constant deluge of data?
Well, that's where critical thinking becomes absolutely essential. We need to be able to evaluate information, question assumptions, and consider multiple perspectives. It's not just about absorbing information. It's about understanding it, analyzing it, and figuring out how to apply it wisely.
So it's not just about having access to information, it's about having the skills to navigate this complex information landscape. And those skills are becoming more and more important, not just for, academics or scientists, but for everyone.
Precisely. Whether you're reading news articles, evaluating political arguments, or even just making decisions about your health or your finances, critical thinking is just so crucial. We need to be able to think for ourselves, to question what we're told, and to form our own informed opinions.
It sounds like critical thinking is really the key to not just surviving, but thriving in this rapidly changing world. And speaking of change, as we look to the future, what are some of the big questions, the big challenges that we need to be grappling with?
Well, we're at this really pivotal moment in human history. We're facing these unprecedented challenges like climate change, resource depletion, and social inequality. But at the same time, we have these incredible opportunities to leverage new technologies, expand our understanding of the universe, and create a more just and sustainable world.
It feels like we're standing at a crossroads with both immense potential and potential peril.
That's a very apt analogy. The choices we make now, individually and collectively, will have a profound impact on the trajectory of our species and the planet.
So as we wrap up this incredible journey through time, what's the one key takeaway you hope our listener will ponder as they go about their day, their week, their life?
Hmm. I think it's the realization that we are all part of this grand, interconnected web of life. We are products of billions of years of cosmic evolution, shaped by forces both vast and minute. Our actions, however small they may seem, have ripple effects that extend far beyond ourselves.
It's a powerful reminder that we're not just living in the present. We're shaping the future with every decision we make. And understanding the past, with all its triumphs and follies, can help us navigate the complexities of the present and create a more hopeful future.
Absolutely.
Well, folks, there you have it. We've journeyed from the fiery birth of our planet to the dawn of civilization, from the heights of human achievement to the depths of human conflict. And along the way, I think we've uncovered some hidden connections, challenged assumptions, and hopefully sparked a few aha moments.
It's been an absolute pleasure exploring this grand tapestry of time with you and with you, our listener.
And remember, this isn't just a passive deep dive. It's an invitation to keep exploring, to keep questioning, and to keep uncovering those hidden connections that make history so endlessly fascinating.
Because ultimately, understanding the past is not just about accumulating knowledge. It's about gaining wisdom. The kind of wisdom that can help us create a better future for ourselves and for generations to come.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. We'll be back next time with another fascinating topic, so be sure to subscribe and join us for the next adventure. Until then, keep those minds curious and those imaginations firing.